Welcome to Mysteries, Myths, and Legends. I'm Taylor.
I'm Savannah.
And welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Cuties. I love that
Yes,
this is dropping on Valentine's Day.
I know.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love the Valentine's Day vibe.
Yeah, it's the
colors.
vibe of just, pink and hearts
And red,
and like
yeah, just
bows
and
and
hearts and just it's cute.
like
Everything is
glitter
cute.
and yeah.
I love it so much. So much so, in fact, that we are having a Galentine's Day for the gals this weekend.
Yes.
We will
No, it's
have
gonna
already
be
had
so
it.
fun.
Yeah, once this comes out. So we'll have to tell you about it next week.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But we're excited. We're having a little tea party.
Yes,
know.
a tea party.
I love that for us.
And we're gonna make some little friendship bracelets.
Yes.
I'm
we
so
are.
excited about that.
Yes. We might color some tarot cards.
Yeah.
I
have
have
to.
like a color your own kit of tarot cards I've been working on for a very long time. So, all the girly things soon to come, which I
All
love
the
that for
girly
us.
things. Oh, and of course, a charcuterie.
Oh,
Charcuterie
obvious.
board, of course.
Obviously. There's no gal party without a charcut involved,
Yes.
truthfully. But, okay, listen. I know we talk about Percy Jackson every single week, but
Yeah.
we did watch the finale. Loved it. I mean, it was great, honestly. Not really like the book, but I still loved it.
It was great, yeah.
It was great. But I have some unfortunate news.
Unfortunate.
Yeah,
What?
unfortunate about Percy Jackson. So, the spoilers ahead. I'm not spoiling anything, but like spoilers low key if you haven't watched it. So, in the last episode, we meet Zeus, right? You remember Zeus?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was played by Lance Reddick, and he unfortunately died, and that was his last project he worked on.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he died back in March of 2023 from like heart problems. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I guess he won't be Zeus anymore.
Wow.
Because like
That's horrible.
I know, it's so sad because they apparently like filmed a bunch of Percy Jackson before the strike happened. So like that's how he was in it before he died. Because then they had the strike happen and they just like started refilming and stuff. Recently.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah. So now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why they didn't show him until the last episode because that's all they had.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably it. Like maybe what if they had him in other scenes and just
Yeah.
had to cut him out
Exactly.
because cut it out of the script because yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's cute that they left him as Zeus. I don't really know what they're going to do about that in the future, but I'm glad they left it for him, like his last work.
Yeah.
But it's so sad, so rest in peace to Lance. I found that out like yesterday and I was so shook. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really sad.
I
What happened?
know.
Was he just sick?
He apparently had like a heart disease and he died from it.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've just blocked stuff from my memory.
Yeah.
But
It's okay. I did just the
wow,
same thing.
that's horrible.
I know. So sad. But if you haven't watched Percy Jackson, definitely go do that. It's on Disney Plus. Very good. Very good. And obviously we're obsessed. And maybe now that it's off, we'll stop talking about it. But I highly doubt it because I've never stopped talking about it since I started this podcast.
Yeah, honestly.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And that's really all the intro topics I have for you this week. What about
Okay.
you?
All right. That's it. So like let's get into the story, I guess.
Let's do it.
So this week I'm going to talk to you about this bar that's in Key West, Florida. And
Okay.
it's supposedly the oldest saloon in Key West, and it's called Captain Tony's.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds like a place I want to go to.
Oh, the more I tell you about it, the more you're going to be like, we have to go.
First of all, I love the Keys. I drove Okay, that's crazy of me, considering the fact that I live in North Carolina. I drove to the Keys, but I only drove to Key Largo, not to Key West.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you didn't
Okay.
know, like, they're like, oh, yeah, we're just going to go to the Keys. Guys, the Keys are like 7 hours of distance in between all of the Keys. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a bunch of little islands together. Wrong. Wrong.
Yeah. It's out there, I guess. I don't know.
It is.
Um, Now that you say that, like I feel like I have not seen a map of this. I need to look it up afterwards, but
Yeah, imagine like Florida is like pooping out little poops. That's what they look like. And like Key West is the farthest one from actual Florida.
right, right.
So
Thanks for that image.
that's how I learned geography, if that
Right.
makes any kind of sense to you guys.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, this bar is on Key West. And it is named after the late Captain Tony. So there actually is a real Captain Tony, and he was a fishing boat captain and gun runner,
Oh,
and he was also a gambling casino operator
oh.
and a mayor of Key West.
Okay, sir. He did it all.
Yeah. So this saloon, it was actually originally built in 1851 as an ice house
What is
and
that?
like a house that stores
Oh,
ice.
okay. I mean, I thought so, but I didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty
Like a
sure that's what that
freezer
is. Yeah.
the size of a
Um,
house.
yeah. And it also doubled as the city morgue.
Mmm. Yum. Yum. Morgue
So we
ice.
love that. Yeah. So off to a great start with this building, you know?
Not good. Not good at all.
So the website for Captain Tony's, it states that the saloon was a famous watering hole, quote unquote, of Ernest Hemingway, Truman Capote. Um, I don't. I always just say things wrong, so
It's
whatever.
okay.
Um, Tennessee Williams, Shel Silverstein, and Jimmy Buffett.
Okay, so all really
So a
incredible
lot of famous
writers.
people.
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
that. I also, Shel Silverstein, I don't know if he's controversial, but let me tell you what. When I was little, his poems, I have every single book of his.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel like that's such a random name to throw out.
I know.
Like,
I
of him
know.
being at this place. I was just talking about
Right.
him the other day. But, like, Where the Sidewalk Ends, love that.
Yes, yeah. And then Jimmy Buffett, like
Oh,
kind
I
of
mean,
random too, but
listen,
also like he's a Key West
I was gonna say,
star,
like,
so
rest in peace to Jimmy Buffett, first of all. Second of all, he owns the keys. Like, that man, that's his
true.
place, you know?
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Like, the keys might as well be named Jimmy Buffett's house in my brain. That's what I see.
It's Margaritaville.
It's quite literally the OG Margaritaville.
Yeah. So this building, um, it's not like it's not just like any normal building, you know, like there's some weird stuff about it. And the weirdest thing is that this building actually has a large tree in the middle of it,
What?
just growing through the middle of it.
That's really cool.
And you're gonna flip when you hear this one. So the tree was actually used as like a gallows tree before the
Um,
building was put there. So like
okay,
a
so why
hanging
didn't we
tree.
chop the
Yeah.
tree down? What?
I
So,
don't know.
okay.
They kind of just built the ice house
Around
around the
it?
hanging tree.
Oh my God, somebody play that song.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bad. Why would it? This is really bad energy.
I know. And then all those random
Like,
famous people like
it's
go there all the time.
right,
And
like it
it's
sounds
like
so
kind of cool.
fun, but it's giving bad.
Okay, like it's bad energy, but it's also like kind of cool at the same time to have a tree in the middle of a building.
For sure.
Like, isn't that kind of cool?
No, it's very
It's
cool.
growing out the top too.
No, I mean, that's so cool. But the hanging tree, like, we couldn't have used the
I
other
know.
tree.
Yeah.
Crazy though.
So, okay, the history of this hanging tree. The tree, yeah, the building was built around it, and at least 75 people were hung here for piracy,
Not the
along with other
pirates.
stuff. Yeah,
No.
the pirates, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Um, because, this is an island,
Yeah.
so makes
I
sense
mean, it
that there were,
does
yeah.
make sense.
The tree is still alive, if you're wondering.
That's
It's still
crazy.
alive. It is at least 6 inches above the roof of the building. It was taller, but a hurricane, one of the hurricanes that came by,
Mm-hmm.
it tore some of it off the top.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it does still grow leaves, and the leaves will fall off just into the bar.
That would be so
So,
annoying to work there. Oh, my God. In
yeah.
the fall? Oh, no, no, no.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, I'm like, how does it get enough sunlight? But I guess the top of it is out
Yeah,
of the building enough that
I
it
guess
does.
so.
But
That's crazy.
yeah. So, taking it back in the before it was ever the saloon, it was I said the ice house and the morgue. And then in the 1890s, it was a wireless telegraph station.
Okay.
And actually, there is a piece of history here too. So in 1898, during the Spanish American War, news that the battleship Maine was destroyed came from Havana to this building in Key West and
Oh,
was then like reported all over the world. So like it was destroyed and then like they directly like went to this building to spread the news. So it's like
interesting.
historical.
Mm-hmm. Very.
So a few years later in 1912, the building was turned into a cigar factory.
Oh, Lord. This building has gone through it.
I know, like it's really going through like the most random.
Oh, wait. So is it
It's turning the
big
most random things.
if it was a
It
factory?
not. It's not that big, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. A small factory.
Yeah. I mean, definitely not as big as like you would imagine a factory today.
Yeah.
Like this was still 1912, so I'm
Okay. Okay.
guessing maybe it was more normal to have a small factory. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it definitely, I'd say.
So it was a factory, and then it was a bordello, which is another
Ooh.
word for a brothel.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
So, a few years later, the building was leased to Morgan Bird, and he opened the saloon as the Duval Club.
Bougie name.
Yes, so this is the first time, like, this is when it's turning into a bar, into a
Oh,
saloon.
okay.
So he decorated the bar as like a in late Victorian style.
Okay.
So
Vibes.
very fancy. And he threw lavish parties at the Duval Club, and he basically made it into a gay bar.
Oh, I love that for him.
Yeah, I love it for him too. It got really popular actually, and it did actually get really popular with the Navy
Well, that's not
or like
surprising.
people who were in the Navy, yeah,
Yeah,
sailors. Um, but the Navy, like, the people in charge in the Navy, they warned them to stop.
of course they did. Of course.
Yeah. But then they proceeded anyway. Like people kept going
As they
and they kept
should.
having these parties. And then eventually the Navy placed the Duval Club as like off limits to Navy
Wow, that's
sailors.
so lame.
Yeah. Yeah. But listen to this. This caused their business to go down 80%.
Oh, they were keeping that business in business
They
for
were,
real.
yeah, yeah. The Navy really,
Wow.
I mean, that just says it all. That says it
Yeah,
all.
truly.
Anyways, so after that, they kind of had to go out of business because
No
they
more
didn't have
money.
any more money to keep
Yep.
it open. So then it became a few different speakeasies, which is fun. And in 1933, a local named Joe Russell bought the business and created the bar Sloppy Joe's Bar.
Sloppy Joes. Love
So
that.
that's fun. Yeah. So the name actually came from Russell's friend and fishing buddy, Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, what? No big deal.
So there we go, Ernest Hemingway.
Wait, did they
Um,
serve Sloppy Joes at Sloppy Joe's?
I don't think so.
That's a crime.
Yeah.
Because in college, there was a place called Sloppy Poppies, and it was a bar, primarily a bar, but they did serve Sloppy Joes.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
yeah.
I don't think I ever went
It
there.
wasn't open for very long, but it
Okay.
was a good time while it was open.
Yeah. Well, Sloppy Joe's, Ernest Hemingway actually named it as a tribute to his friend in Havana, Jose Garcia. And he actually owned a bar in Havana called Sloppy Joe's. So he kind of just like took the name.
Wow, that's so disrespectful.
Yeah, but he's like, oh, it's to honor him.
Well, I mean, he
He's
had to say
like,
that.
yeah. So, inside this bar, there was a long wooden bar, on the left side of the main area. And there was like booths that went into the back of the building, like a large room off to one side used for gambling. And they would play like roulette, craps, blackjack, and like a few other games. The room had ceiling fans and sawdust floors, so love that.
Oh, wow.
The light came from two large French doors, which that description just makes it seem like there's not that much light inside. It's like
No.
really dark.
Yeah, that's exactly what that sounds like.
And the vibe was there because they had Roomba music playing like all the time.
That's
And
such
they
a
had
vibe.
live music all night. And they had a dance hall in the back.
This
So,
place sounds like where I'm trying to be.
exactly, like a dream. Kind of like dive bar vibes, but also like dancing.
Yeah,
It's
like a
just, I
little
don't know.
bit of an elevated dive bar, but not a club.
Right, yeah.
And that's precisely my vibe.
Yeah. So they were doing pretty good as a bar, but then in 1938, the building's landlord, they raised rent $1 per week
Wow.
extra. And
Jesus.
so they picked up the whole bar in the middle of the night and moved everything to a new address. And that's where Sloppy Joe's is still in business today.
Oh, oh, wow.
Yeah, so they kind of
Oh,
just like left.
oh, wow. I mean, I would have done the same if my landlord was telling me that.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, there's a fun fact about the urinal in this building. Hemingway, like he apparently loved this urinal because it was like kind of like a trowel, trough,
A
whatever it's
trough?
called.
Yeah.
Yeah, trough. Why am I'm just like not pronouncing things right today. Like a trough urinal, I guess. And he took it out of the bar and brought it to his house.
Okay, that's crazy. Like, what
Yeah.
was so special? Like, I don't know what a trough urinal is.
Like
A difference
like just
compared to a regular one, I guess.
well, like what a trough is. Like a
I don't,
feeding trough.
I mean, I guess it's just
Like
bigger.
a big long a
Oh,
long
oh, a
like
big long. Okay, instead of just like one. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, okay. He couldn't have just got his own though. He had to take it from the bar.
Yeah,
Like
he
he's
took it.
Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah, when they moved the saloons, like he took it and it's still in his house.
I'm imagining
So
they're like trying to sneak everything out in the middle of the night, and Ernest is like, "Wait, wait, wait! That urinal, we got that
no,
one.
literally,
That's
that's
dibs."
literally the vibes it's giving. He took it. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So after this happened, the building they went through several iterations, like different bars came through, and then finally Captain Tony's was put into place. Captain Tony purchased the bar and renamed it in 1958 to Captain Tony's Saloon.
Okay, so Captain Tony is actually a real person.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yep. Yeah. And so this is where Jimmy Buffett got his start in Key West.
What?
At
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so it wasn't even just like his one of his favorite places to go. Like this is where he sort of got his start.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he would play there in the early 70s and he was often paid in tequila,
Of
which
course
is
he was.
just is really on brand.
Of course he was.
So moving through in the 1980s, the floorboards were removed, and this is where it gets pretty
Mm.
crazy again because it's like this bar, like this whole building is so crazy. Like the story of it is crazy because it's like, yeah, like Jimmy Buffett played here, like Ernest Hemingway, like the it just is such a, these people love this bar.
There's a
But
tree
then
in the middle of it.
yeah, there's a hanging tree in the middle of it. And what I'm about to tell you, they removed the floorboards and they found bones, like
No.
graves underneath.
You stop it right now. I didn't think
Yeah.
you were going to say that. I thought you were going to say something started happening when they removed the boards. I didn't think they were going to be bodies.
No, literally, they found
Oh,
bones of about 15 to 18 people.
no.
Yeah.
No. Oh my God. They were dancing on those bodies all those years.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my Lord. That is crazy.
Uh, and I bet they probably knew that they were there
I
too.
was
They're
just going
like,
to
I don't
say,
think they even,
somebody had to know.
like, I don't even think they cared. They're like, we know there's bodies in here.
Wow. That's so disrespectful of them. Because somebody definitely knew.
So there were gravestones too in this bar.
No. Like under the floors?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. So this is like a cemetery.
So, yeah.
Oh my God. That's like
Like,
100
isn't that
times worse
insane?
than just
I know.
like the bodies. It's like a full cemetery and a hanging tree. Wow. That's
Yeah.
wild.
So one of the gravestones that's in this bar, still there, by the way,
Um,
was a gravestone of El Elvira Drew. She was married in her teens, so like 15, 16, to an abusive alcoholic man in his
oh my
50s.
God. Oh, it's
Um,
her headstone?
yeah. Yeah.
No.
So she ended up killing him in
Okay,
self-defense,
period, Pookie.
period. But since it was 1822,
Mm.
self-defense was not a valid argument against the crime.
What do you
So
mean?
so she was sentenced to hang
Oh, it's a
at the
tree.
hanging tree. Yeah.
You're telling
Uh,
me that this is the cemetery for the hanged victims?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. This place is going to be so haunted, honey.
So
Mm-mm-mm.
she was 19 when she was hanged for her crime.
Elvira, no.
I
Girl,
know.
you did the right thing.
She did. Her
That's so sad.
her gravestone now sits beside the pool table.
Stop. Oh my God, you can play pool with Elvira.
I know, I know.
I mean, at least they're honoring her now and not standing on top of her,
Yeah,
you know.
there.
But isn't it once was, I suppose?
Yeah. Um, and honestly, like having your grave be in a bar, like it
It's iconic. Honestly, put mine there.
right. I was gonna say
Like,
like on one hand, it's like, is that disrespectful?
I
But
mean,
on the other hand, it's
maybe
like
to some people.
I would wanna on the other hand, like I would wanna be a ghost in a bar.
True.
Like hanging out like that. I don't know.
True. Also, like, if my friends and family are going to come mourn me, at least come mourn me in a fun way. Like, let's play pool.
Right.
Let's get a drink. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I would be down for that.
And this way, like, all these people know your name. Like, they're coming
Exactly.
by all the time.
Yeah.
If you're just in a cemetery somewhere, nobody's, like,
Yeah, not many people are
caring enough
just
to go and...
reading, like, tombstones. I mean, other than me and Savannah.
Yeah, like, some people will, but, like, not nearly as many as would come into this bar.
Most definitely.
So maybe not as disrespectful as, like, we would think. So,
I
anyway.
agree.
So there's another gravestone that belongs to Reba Sawyer. And her gravestone says 1900 to 1950. So she died in 1950.
Okay.
So she actually is not really buried here, but
Okay.
like, her headstone is here though.
Why?
So, so here's the story behind that. Um, they had a funeral for her. She was buried in a cemetery. And then afterwards, her husband found out that she had been cheating.
Yoinks.
And he found some letters between her and the man that she was cheating with. And the letters detailed how that they would meet up at Captain Tony's saloon. So the
Yo.
husband dragged her tombstone from the cemetery to be at the bar and placed it under the hanging tree. And
Oh
he
my
said,
god.
"This is where she wanted to be, so this is where she's gonna stay."
That is so savage, but
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is where she wanted to be.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's still there. It's still under the hanging tree.
Wow. That is so crazy.
It's
What?
yeah,
This place is an
honestly, like,
anomaly.
right, and like the bar owners like just like let him do that. And I mean I get it
I
letting
mean,
him do that because it's like that just adds to the lore of this place.
exactly. Just another story, another crazy story.
I love it.
Me
I
too.
bet like I wonder if when he brought it in, they were like, "Oh, we remember her."
I hope they were. I really hope
I
they
hope so
were.
too.
That's
Yeah, me
so
too.
funny. I love the
Yeah.
pettiness.
I know, I know. So there are some ghosts in this bar too, of
Of
course. It's haunted.
course. Of course.
One of the ghosts that people see all the time here is the lady in blue.
Mm.
She was one of the people hanged on the hanging tree. And the story goes that she stabbed her husband and two children to
Oh
death.
my god. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting
And
that.
I know, it's kind of like crazy. The townspeople, they found out immediately and dragged her to the tree to be hanged. And she was still wearing the dress that she wore while she was killing them. So
Oh.
she was covered in blood.
Oh my god.
And they say that she went crazy because her husband was cheating on her.
Mm.
And she walks around the bar sometimes and scares customers away. So, there we go.
Wow. That's wild.
I don't know. That story to me seems a little bit exaggerated and it seems like it was just made up for the plot of the
To kill
bar.
her. Oh, I
But
was thinking just like to
you know what
kill
I
her.
mean?
I do because I understand her killing her husband, but why her kids?
Right. Right. Like maybe part of it is true or maybe none of it's true and it's just like a story they tell.
True. Or
You
like
know?
maybe somebody really was hung there, like a lady in blue, but like that's just like the story they made up for her
Yes.
because
Yeah,
they
that
don't
could definitely
know
be it.
like
Yeah.
the real one.
I don't know. If
Mm.
that's true, then that's just like, oh, that's wild.
If that's true, she really did go crazy, for
Hmm.
real.
And I feel like we're starting to see a trend here with
Mm-hmm.
like people
Cheating.
cheating. Yeah.
This is the cheating place. If you're gonna cheat, Captain Joe, is that what it's called? What is Captain
It's
Tony? It's Captain Tony.
yeah, Captain Tony. Yeah. So there are a few other ghosts that roam this place. The next one I'm going to talk about is another young woman. And this one's they just call the beautiful young woman. So, you know. She was sat at the bar when it was like a speakeasy. So before it was Captain Tony's.
Mm-hmm.
And she was looking for her husband and she like went to the speakeasy looking for him and she was holding their baby.
Oh.
So I don't know, she was just trying to find him and she of course, say it with me, found
Found
him
him cheating.
cheating.
Indeed. With a baby?
So
That's so savage, dude. That's really savage.
I know,
And because she probably had to bring the baby because she had nobody else to watch the baby.
yeah, probably
And he's out there at Captain Tony's. I don't know why I called him Joe a minute ago. Just
because
cheating.
the sloppy joes.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so disrespectful. Wow. Anybody
Yeah.
here, you know what? Now I'm like, if I go here, I feel like I'm talking to somebody. If I talk to anybody, they're cheating. They're cheaters
Honestly,
immediately.
true. That's true. Like maybe we shouldn't go. It's just a cheating bar. But so what do you think happens next in this story? She has the baby, she
Well,
sees him cheating,
I mean,
and
I don't know. Just tell me.
okay, she gets really angry. So of course she runs into the women's restroom and drowns her baby in
What?
the toilet.
Okay. I would have never said that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what? Did she really do that?
I don't know.
Oh my
But
god, I
the
really hope
story
she really
goes
didn't do that.
that she left the baby, ran out, and nobody knows what happened to her, but now she's a ghost at the bar. But I don't know, like some of these stories I'm like, did that happen?
I'm like,
Did a baby die in this
guys, I
place?
don't think. I don't. Why would she? What did the baby do?
Right,
What did
right.
the children do? They're not cheating. Like, I'm just confused. Like, maybe I guess you can go if we're believing the story, like, seeing the baby with the person who's cheating on you, like, would be too much. Like, it would always
I guess
remind you of the
so.
cheating. But, like, I
Yeah,
don't know if that's enough reason to kill your own child.
I know.
But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I guess nothing would be, but I get
True.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that ghost,
Mm-hmm.
she's there.
Mm-hmm.
And people actually say that there's a lot of paranormal activity in the women's restroom in general. So it could have something to do with this happening.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah, and they say that they hear people in the bathroom when nobody else is in there. They will see that like stalls are locked even though nobody is there, which is like, I mean, anybody could do that, I feel
Yeah.
like.
I mean, that
But
happens all the time.
yeah, but
Next time I see that, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, it's a ghost
yeah.
pooping in there.
Exactly. Um so yeah, like stuff like that will happen. Like they just like hear voices in there and stuff. But
Creepy.
and the owner of this bar actually has some stories about it being a little bit haunted. So um so Captain Tony, he used to, he made the bar, but he's not the owner anymore. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's this man, Joe Farber.
Another Joe?
Yeah, another
Oh
Joe.
my god. See, this is why I'm so confused.
Yeah, sorry. So he was closing up late one night and he heard somebody call his name.
Oh, it was probably just me.
It was just you, yeah. No, definitely. So he got up to see who it was, and of course there was no one there.
Mm-mm.
But he didn't really like think anything of it because he's not the type of person to believe in ghosts or anything.
Okay.
So he's like, okay, weird. But then he noticed that there were some doors open that he had closed and locked hours before that.
Ew. Well, I would probably think it was a person.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. Um, so then he didn't really think that much of that either because he looked around, didn't see anybody, locked it back up, and then it happened again a
Oh,
few years later,
no, no, no.
and he heard someone say, "Don't leave, Joe."
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would rather hear get out than don't leave, Taylor. Like, I'm like, baby,
So
I'm
you
going.
so you would have just left.
Yes, I would have left. Are you kidding me? I would have, if even somebody said my name and I was the only person there, I would have already been gone.
Okay.
I don't even
Okay.
care about the doors.
So that's what Joe did too. He just left. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm leaving.
Me.
But 3 hours later, he got a call from the police that they had found a body in front of the bar.
Shut up. Oh no, that's so that just sent
A
chills down my spine.
a young girl had overdosed on pills in front of the bar, and she died. She died like laying there 30 minutes after Joe left.
No. The ghost was trying to help her. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So knowing that, would you have stayed?
Well, yeah. Oh my
So
god.
now, so now if a ghost tells you to stay, you have
No,
to.
because you're right. Because I really be forgetting that like ghosts can be good,
Yeah,
or like
they
maybe it
can.
wasn't even a ghost because there's this other thing called the third man syndrome,
Yes, yeah,
which is a whole other thing we'll have to go into. But like that
yeah.
could also
If
be,
you know, you
if
know.
you know, you
But
know.
for now,
Well,
at least.
yeah, for now. But like that could have been a thing with that. Like obviously they were trying to help the ghosties in that place were trying to help that girl. But I mean, I don't
Wow.
blame Joe. I would have been scared and left too.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't even think he was scared. He was just like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah, I mean, well,
And then, yeah.
me
Yep.
too. Mm, that's
So,
horrible.
so yeah. Anyway, today the bar is just like it's just a snapshot of old Key West. Like it's a piece of history. The building, or the ceiling, it's actually I don't know what you've been picturing, but the ceiling is actually covered with bras.
Oh, I actually Googled it and already
Okay,
saw a
okay.
picture of it.
Yeah, they have bras like hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, like very much like a dive bar.
Mhm,
Business cards fill the
mhm.
posts around the bar.
Like, there's not
Every
one bare wall in that place.
No, there is not. Very overstimulating, probably.
Very, yeah, I can imagine.
Every bar stool is painted with like a name of a famous person who sat on it or like and who like frequented the bar.
Mhm, that's cool.
The hanging tree is in the middle of the bar, of course, and still growing. They now play rock and roll music and not Roomba.
That's
And they,
lame.
yeah, a little bit lame. They have pool tables instead of slots, and gambling.
Yeah, makes sense.
Uh, and they have live music daily, kind of as always. Like I feel like that's always been a thing there.
Yeah.
Um, and they have a skeleton propped up in the bar, so you can like say bye before you go. Just be like,
Oh well,
yeah. So
that's okay. That's helpful.
yeah.
Maybe.
So yeah, that's Captain Tony's.
I love Captain Tony's. I really want to go. I want to go just so I can have an excuse to be going to the Keys, but then also I want to go to Captain Tony's.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a must in my life.
Yeah. If I ever find myself in Key West, I'm gonna go.
Mhm. I'm gonna go because you know what? I've never seen anything as pretty as the Keys in my whole life. I've never seen water looking like that. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed. And I went to, no, I'm not going to say the ugly Keys, but like Key West is like the main key, high
Mm-hmm.
key.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the keys are like not as fancy and nice and cute as Key West, I feel like.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah,
it
it's
was so
definitely the
beautiful.
most talked about.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But
Yeah.
amazing. I love that. I love that story. That is crazy though. Like all of that happened there is
I
beyond me.
know. I know. Like, there's so much history, and also, like, why are there so many stories of people cheating on each other?
Right. Like maybe that's just the case for like a lot of bars though.
Yeah, no, that's definitely
Because
true.
people do just meet up for drinks.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the tea.
That's the
That
tea.
is really the tea. That's a lot of tea. Well, continuing with the tea, um, there's no way to really get into this one, I guess. Other than to just jump right on in. I am covering the legend of Marie Laveau.
Oh my God,
Dun-dun-dun.
Marie Laveau.
Yes, so if you don't know who that is, she is the voodoo queen of New Orleans. If you somehow live under a rock. Um, so I got inspired to cover Marie Laveau because I've been watching the new season of Queer Eye, which is, if you don't know, one of my favorite shows of all time. And this season they're in New Orleans and they were like, on one episode they were talking about voodoo. And I was like, okay, it's voodoo time up in here. So we've definitely, covered some New Orleans stories, but this is specifically about the voodoo queen herself. Um,
I'm so excited.
yeah. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna start at the beginning of her life, And I really deep dove on this one because turns out I didn't know as much about her as I thought I did,
Hmm.
which is crazy.
I think it wasn't she in um they were
American
in
Horror
American
Story.
Horror Story.
Yes.
That's what I know. That's what I know about her
Yes.
just from that show.
True. Okay, so
Which is like, yeah.
yeah, she was in American Horror Story season 3, which is Coven, and Angela Bassett, the actual queen, played her in that. And that was a pretty like legitimate showing of, who she really was in that time period. But like I didn't know things up before that point in her time, like
Right.
her before
Yeah.
life. So, at the beginning of her life, her birth actually was not recorded. And this
Oh.
was due to the racism in our country at the time.
Oh.
So, because she was a black woman, they did not record her birth. But researchers have deducted with context clues that she was born in 1801. So, I really had no idea which time period she lived in, but the very early 1800s
Hmm.
is the answer.
Okay.
So, her mom, Marguerite, she was actually a freed slave and also the mistress of Marie Laveau's father, Charles Laveau. And Charles, he was a wealthy businessman in New Orleans. And so when Marguerite gave birth to Marie, she actually gave birth to her at her mom's house. So she was born in her grandma's house.
Oh.
And as soon as she gave birth, Marguerite actually left Marie with her mom and returned back to her mistress relationship with Charles. And they left their kid there. Because, I mean,
Oh, okay.
obviously, he can't come out and be like, yes, I have a kid
Yeah.
with
True.
a black woman. Like
Mm-hmm.
that at the time could never have been said. So,
Right.
yeah, she was just like, yeah, my mom can take care of her. Like, what? What? That's crazy. I had no idea that was the case whatsoever. But Marie Laveau was the first to be born free in her family. So this was extremely important. And also, I feel like a really perfect time considering that it is Black History Month. So I thought this was like a very powerful story to hear about. This very powerful
Yes.
black woman
Mm-hmm.
for Black History Month. So fun. Anyways, her great grandmother came to New Orleans as a slave from West Africa in the mid 1700s, and her grandmother was purchased by a free woman of color. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I'm like, what? So, sorry if you can't follow this family tree, but
Mm-hmm.
basically, Marie Laveau's great grandma is the one who originally came to the United States, and then her daughter, which is Marie Laveau's grandma, was then purchased by another woman of color who was already free. And then her mom, and then she was free. So, love that for Marie Laveau to be the first freed in her family. But her grandmother was eventually able to buy her freedom and build her small home in the French Quarter, which is where Marie Laveau would eventually be born and grow up in. And then eventually it would actually become her house, where she became the legendary Voodoo Queen of America. So I was like, wow, knew absolutely none of that, but that's really cool. All of that for her
Mm-hmm.
immediately. So, fast forwarding a little bit in her life, on August 4th, 1819, so she would have been around 18 years old, she married Jacques Paris. I'm assuming that he's French because we are talking about New Orleans, but it reads Jacques Paris. So,
Right.
um, I don't know really how to pronounce it.
I'm guessing like the first way you said it was spot
Jacques
on.
Paris.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
go with that.
Yeah. I love, honestly, fire name. Absolutely fire name.
Oh, definitely.
So Jacques, he was a free person of color from Haiti, and he was a cabinet maker. So this is where it gets confusing. This is like the first mystery surrounding their life. Now, most of the research that has been done says that this couple never had any children. Okay. However, there are baptismal records from St. Louis Cathedral, which is the cathedral that they got married in. Okay. And it shows two entries for two daughters to be born to those two people, Marie Laveau and Jacques Paris.
Suspicious.
Very suspicious. So the two children, so it was two daughters, one being named Marie Angélie Paris, say that 5 times fast, to be baptized in 1823, and Felicity Paris, baptized in 1824, and both Marie and Jacques were listed as their parents. But here's the mysterious part, because obviously it sounds like, I mean, they were their parents, right? Like, they're listed as their parents. They gotta be. But the part that doesn't make sense is that the record states, due to the dates, that Felicity, which is the younger daughter, allegedly, her baptism happened when she was 7 years old, but the timestamp would mean that Felicity was like born 2 years before they were even married. So like basically the timelines don't line up. So do these people exist? Well, I don't know. And nobody has, like, that's the only records ever of these two girls.
And they're listed as the parents and not the godparents.
They're listed as the parents, and nobody has ever really been able to find them.
Interesting.
So it's just a little, like, I don't know. People don't know. Are they real? Do they exist? Did somebody just write that in the baptismal record because they knew who Marie Laveau was? I don't know. Were they real? Don't know. So that's the first mysterious thing. The disappearance of two alleged daughters. Like, who knows? But then there's the disappearance of Jacques Paris himself.
Oh, he disappears too?
Yep, there is no proper documentation of his death, and we don't know if he died, if he was killed, or if he ran off. So that's a mystery too. But Marie Laveau did call herself the Widow Paris for the rest of her life. So
okay, well then
I
it
guess
sounds
he
like
died.
she knows. She knows what happened.
Listen, I don't know. All I know is it sounds to me like he died, at least in her eyes. I don't know. Who's to say? So that's the second little mystery going on. Okay, so all that happened like in the early 1820s. Okay, and then in 1826, Marie Laveau found love once again. This time with a man named, stick with me for this one, okay?
I believe in you.
Louis Christophe Dumencenel de Glapion. I know I got that last part right. I know I did.
Oh, it sounded right. Yeah.
So Mr. Glapion, okay, he came from a very prominent New Orleans family. And he was a very wealthy white man who would end up spending his last 30 years of his life in a common law marriage with Marie Laveau. So what does that mean, you may be asking? Common law marriage? Basically, it was illegal to have an interracial marriage at the time. So they legally could not get married. So common law marriage, they basically just agreed they're married. And, you know, they had, of course, a little ceremony, but, like, it was never legally certified, I suppose you could say. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't a common law marriage, like, can't that, doesn't that happen if you live with a person for a certain amount of time?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Or is that, okay.
I don't
know if there's another word for that, or I'm thinking of something else, but.
No, you're thinking of the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was different common law today than it is from back then.
Yeah.
If that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah. It's just because they couldn't do it legally. So they were like, well, we're basically married.
Exactly. So these two, they had children and they loved living their life together, as far as I could tell from all the research I did. Christophe, he did end up dying in June of 1855, naturally. And Marie Laveau never fell in love again because she said it would be impossible to replace a love so big. Which I'm like, oh, what a cute Valentine's story, honestly. Like,
honestly,
I didn't even do that on purpose.
Yeah.
That's just adorable, though.
See, I did the opposite. I talked about like cheating, and then you're talking about the love of her
At
life.
least we have the balance.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. I wasn't even thinking about that to
Me
be in the
either.
Valentine's Day episode. That is so funny. See, I love when these things happen naturally. But anyway, so okay, now for their children. The third mystery. These kids, they just be mysteries, I guess. The total number of children that this couple have is debated. We don't know how many precisely they had, but it's believed to be between 10 and 15 over the course of
What?
20 years.
There's no way.
Well, yep,
10 to 15. That means she
yep.
was having a
Pregnant
kid
like
every year.
every year, pretty much. Yeah, always pregnant for like 20 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. So 7 children were recorded on paper, and 3 of those 7 died in infancy, according to what records we do have. So the number of children, absolutely questionable. But we definitely know at least of like a good 5. So
That's still a lot.
yeah. And
Like,
it's
oh my
probably
God.
more than that. And also probably maybe those other 2 girls from her first marriage, if they're real.
Right.
So
Yeah.
lots of kids. Who knows? Um, so yeah, let's get a little bit more into her career. Marie Laveau was a dedicated voodoo practitioner, also a healer, also an herbalist, and of course an entrepreneur. Okay. This lady was known as like one of the most prominent female religious leaders and community activists in New Orleans, still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
She started a beauty parlor where she was the hairdresser, and because of her husband's connections, she actually got to be the hairdresser of all of the wealthiest families of New Orleans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And if you know anything about salons or like barbers, like one thing that's always going to happen no matter where you go, that's where all the tea and gossip is spilled when you're
Mm-hmm.
getting your hair done.
Oh, it
I
totally
have
is.
never heard more gossip in my life than when I'm getting my hair done.
Mm-hmm.
So all these ladies were coming in to get their hair done, and they would just be talking, sharing secrets with Marie Laveau. So Marie knew everything that was going on in this town, every single thing, and she used this to her advantage to make money when people would come in and be like, "Oh, we need help," like, we are in the situation, and they would not know that she already had prior knowledge. So there was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of speculation, like if the magic, quote unquote, that she did was real, or if she was just really smart and was able to use like what she had, or whether it be both, you know.
Mm-hmm. I think it definitely could have been a little bit of both.
Oh,
You know,
same,
like,
same, same. I think this lady was like way smarter than just anybody, especially at the time.
right.
And then add magic on top of that, cannot be defeated, truly. Um, so also, here's a really crazy thing. Voodoo, I'll get to it more like in a minute, but it is like viewed as a religion. And there's a lot of speculation as to where she learned voodoo from. Like, we just don't know. Like, whether was it from her grandma? Was it from guidance of other voodoo, like, people in the area? Nobody
Mm-hmm.
knows where she learned. So that's another mystery. We just don't know. Have to log for the
Okay.
books. But within her hairdressing career, she also sold charms and like bracelets and necklaces and excuse me, and common herbs and oils and stones. It's giving like your typical like Madame Meerkats like in Wilmington, like your typical
Yeah.
spiritual shop, you know?
Yeah,
But
totally.
way back in the day, like she was the OG, which I
Mm-hmm.
love the vibe. Legend says that Marie Laveau could cure you of all of your ailments. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. If you had the right money, or if you had something she needed, she could cure you.
Hmm.
Some even believe that she had the power to save condemned prisoners from execution, and she
What?
did so.
What?
How she did
How?
so, don't know.
What do you wait? What do you
literally
mean
don't know.
condemned? Like they were
like they were about to be sent either to the gallows or, any other way, like be executed, and she got him off. She's the modern day
What?
Kim K. Or, I
That's
mean, Kim,
crazy.
yeah, literally.
So she just like, oh my gosh, she
She's
just
like,
like
get them off. They're
went and
free.
talked. She went and
Yeah.
talked to the person in charge,
I mean,
and they
she
were
either talked to them or she put a spell on them or did some voodoo to, I don't
interesting.
know.
Huh.
Another crazy thing she did, and this is factual, is that she nursed many people back to health from having yellow fever, which at the time
Oh,
was running rampant and killing
yeah.
thousands upon thousands of people at this time. So that's no small feat of her to be curing an incurable disease at the time.
Right, and she didn't get it herself after treating all
No,
these people?
mm-mm, no,
Like,
she sure
damn.
did not. Yeah, we need to take some notes. Okay, if I wish I had her notebook so bad, because
Mm-hmm.
it would really be great. So, a little bit more about voodoo and what it really is. Like I said, it is a religion and it has influences from some West African religions as well as Roman Catholicism and Haitian Vodou, which is Vodou, which is not voodoo, but essentially the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. But basically, voodoo as a religion uses aspects of philosophy, medicine, and justice as its main three
Oh,
points.
okay.
Yeah, and so people who believe in voodoo, they say that there is an unseen world that is filled with spirits, mysteries, angels, and ancestors that can help us in our world. So that they like just access that
Hmm.
other world. So, and I will say, even though like this is kind of like portrayed more like magical and sinister today, but like I really think voodoo is just kind of like very spiritual groundedness.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's made to seem more like magic, evil, like because of media, more along the lines of I think these people were just very earthy, like we're gonna have some oils and some herbs and we're gonna make some natural medicines. That's what it's giving the vibes of, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. And people were scared of it because it was
Of
different, you
course, yeah.
know?
Like they had never seen this before. They're like, oh, of course it's magic. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It's back to the witchcraft, like
exactly.
accusing people of like being witches and
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly, yep. And people, of course, did call her a witch. And she was. And she accepted it. She was like, yep, that's me. That's surely me. So,
Mm-hmm.
it is recorded that Marie Laveau died on June 15th, 1881, when she was 79 years old. And she died peacefully, surrounded by her family and friends in her home. So that's cute, at least. Her funeral was apparently this big, huge, lavish event. The entire town came. And this is like the coolest part to me. It was a mix of both the white and black communities in New Orleans all coming together to celebrate her life, which, especially at the time, is honestly so beautiful. you know,
Yeah, it is.
like
Yeah.
she really was holding both sides of the communities together. So that's really cool for her.
Yeah, especially when like they couldn't even marry each other at that time.
Exactly.
And then yeah, for her to bring them together in that
Yeah,
way.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. She's an icon. She is said to be buried at St. Louis Cemetery, number one. Apparently, there are multiple. So she's in the number one, and that is St. Louis Cathedral is where they got married, and the first time she got married, and maybe baptized her first two children there, maybe if they existed. So, regardless, obviously, this St. Louis Cathedral has significant meaning to her, considering she's buried there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So she's buried in the tomb of her husband's family, the Glapions, her second husband. But some scholars actually dispute her final resting place. They're like, her body's not actually in there.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. But that is what's listed on her obituary and on the physical gravestone as well. So that's what we're going to go with, that she is buried there.
Okay. Okay.
There was like a whole other like downward spiral, but I just don't know if people are like crazy thinking that her body's not in there. I don't know.
Where do they think it
Like,
is?
they don't know. They're like, it's not
Oh,
in there, but we don't know where it is.
do they just do they just think that she is actually like immortal
Like,
and she
maybe
didn't actually
die.
die
Yeah, like,
and
yeah. There's a lot of
it's like
different
a whole
explanations, but like, yeah, that's
yeah.
one of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
very,
I'm just
very.
gonna go with she's in the
And I really think
tomb.
she is. Like, she loved her second husband more than anything in the world. Like, I think
Right.
she's buried with him. I don't think there's, I really don't think there's any question about that. But, um, anyway, almost immediately after her death, some people who, followed her and believed in her ran to her tomb to leave her offerings and ask for petitions, aka wishes, kind of. Um, People would cook entire meals and leave it, all for Marie Laveau, even though she was dead. Um, and back then, legend has it that if you brought her an offering and then knocked 3 times on the marble slab of her tombstone, she would grant your wish.
Hmm. Okay.
So that was back then, back in the, late 1800s. Let's get to the legend of today. It's changed a little bit. Now her legacy has carried all the way through 2024 as I speak. Everybody still knows who she is.
Mhm.
But today is a little different than how it was back then. It's said that if you still have to bring her an offering. You have to bring the Voodoo Queen an offering, make a wish, and mark 3 X's on her gravesite, and then she will grant your wish. So if you look
Oh.
up pictures of her gravesite, which will also be on our Instagram, it is covered in like XXX, 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 like, because people went all the time to make their wishes because they wanted them to
See,
come true.
I don't like that. Like
No.
why are they like messing up her gravesite with X's?
Right.
Why didn't we just stick with the knocking?
Right. Well, I think because people were like worried it was going to break, which I'm like, it's stone, but,
Okay, but also is it better to just like
draw on
graffiti
it.
all over it?
Yeah. Well, that's that's the thing. So people were like, first of all, she's probably not going to grant your wish. Second of all, it's disrespectful to damage somebody's final resting place. At least, that's what preservationists seem to believe. But people do argue, like in the voodoo religion, that like nobody really seems to care about like what you do to the grave or whatever. So people are like, Marie Laveau wouldn't care because of what she believed in. And I'm like, well, I don't know. We can't ask her about it, so you know, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Yeah.
But today, okay, 2024, if you attempt to write on the grave, you cannot anymore.
Oh, okay.
Long story short. This is because in late December, back in 2013, somebody completely covered her tombstone in pink latex paint. And, this wouldn't have been that big of a problem because people were drawing all over it already. But this specific type of paint was actually preventing the century old bricks from breathing. And so the dead bodies inside of this little building started smelling real bad, real fast. Because it was just like trapped inside of there because of the thick paint that was on it. So this prompted a whole restoration of her tomb, and it was kind of completely redone. And now, and also, like, it's a problem because she's not the only one buried there. It's like her and her husband's whole entire family
Right.
buried in this one, like, it's not a mausoleum, but it's like the same vibe kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so because of all of that and the restoration that they did, they actually made it illegal to touch her grave at all. And if you do today, there is a hefty, hefty fine. They wouldn't even list how much it is, so it's probably thousands of dollars if you get caught writing on it today. So, I wouldn't advise it as bad as you might want a wish to come true. I
Mm-hmm.
don't, not.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because who would do that? Like, pour the paint all over it, the latex
Right.
paint and everything. And
Like, why
that
did they
just
do that?
ruined it for everybody else, for
They
one.
did.
And it's just like, yeah, that's just, wow. Huh.
I know. It's crazy. It really is so disrespectful. Um, okay, also, fun fact. This is a fun fact. The cemetery that she's buried in um is the oldest cemetery in New Orleans. So you just know that there's some energy going on there. People do say that they have talked to Marie Laveau while being in the cemetery. Do I believe them? I don't know. But there are ghost stories. They're like, we've seen her walk around. I'm like, do you want to see her walk around? Like, most of the time, I'm really down to believe people's ghost stories, but I just don't know about Marie Laveau. I feel like she would not be haunting her tombstone, her little gravesite,
Yeah,
if
I
she
don't
was
know if she would
haunting
either.
anywhere, you know?
Yeah, I feel like spiritual people like that don't end up as spirits themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like a lot of the
exactly.
time, like they know that they need to pass on
Yeah. Like
and
they've
they
done their
don't.
work. They don't
Right.
have any regrets or anything
Mm-hmm.
that would be holding them here. And I don't,
Yes.
and like, yeah. So I don't think she's held here at all. And so unfortunately to those people, unless I go there and see her walking around myself, I don't, I don't really believe the ghost stories, but it is the oldest cemetery, so who's to say? Maybe. Or maybe
Yeah.
there is a ghost of somebody who looks like her and they just thought it was her. Who's really to say? But
Huh.
yes, that is the legend of Marie Laveau. Da da
Wow.
da.
Hmm.
Crazy.
Huh. I. Huh. Okay. I need to go. I want to go to New Orleans so bad to
Oh,
like see
we must. We
some of this stuff.
absolutely.
And
Like, that's definitely first on our list. We will be going.
yeah.
Not
Yeah, we
if,
have to.
when. We will be going.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. We will not mark on her grave, trust me. First of all, don't have the money for the fine. Second of
Yeah.
all, wouldn't want to be if she would be haunting people, I do not want to be haunted or cursed by Marie Laveau.
Yeah,
That's
no.
the last thing I
No.
need in my life. Because if
What would
anybody's
you
going to be
wish
the
for?
powerful, that's hard.
Yeah, what would you wish for though if you could like actually knock on her grave?
That's so hard. Because, like, you get one, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I want to say money, but, like, that just seems very superficial.
I know.
Like, I don't know.
Or you could think of what the money will bring you and wish for that instead.
Well, true.
Like,
Honestly,
uh,
honestly, actually, I might, like wish for, like, world peace. Like, actually, let me not be selfish. We can wish for something, like, bigger than me, you know? Like,
yeah, but also something that would be actually achievable by her, right?
well, I don't
Or
know the
could she,
rules.
or could she just like do anything?
People believe that she could do anything.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
I don't know.
hmm.
I don't know. I wish we could find out, but unfortunately, people have ruined that for us. And we can't. What would you wish for?
I would wish for her to cure me of my chronic stress.
Yeah, that's actually good. I'd be like, can you cure me of all of my mental disabilities,
Right.
please?
Yeah.
Everyone, though. Not just the stress. I need them all gone. Depression,
Yeah,
anxiety,
yeah,
gotta go.
maybe. Yeah. Maybe just like we'll write down a list and then
See, but that's why I'm like, does that count as more than one? Like, I don't know. I don't know the
you
stipulations.
just have to word it in a certain way.
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. We gotta be very precise. Very precise. But, yeah. Also, that cemetery that she's buried in, because there were so many visitors now, like, you can only go in the cemetery. There are tours. You can book a tour to go. Or if you have family and you have to prove that your family is in there
Hmm.
to go. So,
Wow.
yeah, we will have to plan ahead when we go to New Orleans to go to her gravesite. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Huh. I mean that's for the best. It is for the best.
absolutely. Absolutely it
Yeah.
is. Keep the bad people out, you know. They're
Yeah.
going to have to work really hard if they want to, like, whatever, destroy it now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, I would honestly believe that there are probably still exes on there to this day. I bet people
I
have got
mean,
around it
yeah,
somehow, some way.
yeah, I think so
So,
too.
yeah. Yeah, so definitely go check out pictures on our Instagram so you can see what that looks like, as well as the saloon, obviously. Must see that. Especially the tree. That part is actually
Mm-hmm.
crazy. That
It
there's a
is.
tree in the middle
Yeah.
of the place. It reminds me of what's that cafe? The Rainforest Cafe, but that's a fake tree
Oh my
in the
gosh, yeah.
middle. This is a real one.
Oh, I do want to say though, like when I was doing the research for this bar, like I did all this research on like the famous people who were at the bar, like the whole story and everything. And then I got to the part about the hanging tree like at the end. And I was like
Oh.
that was like a plot twist for me.
Oh,
And I was like,
wow.
should I just like put this at the beginning or keep it at the end where I found out about it?
I'm glad that you put it at the beginning.
Yeah. It was
But
like I was
that's
like, wait,
crazy.
what?
You said,
And it
wait,
just
hold on,
like
hold on,
made the
hold on.
story even crazier. I was like,
No,
what?
literally, that is crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm still shook by that statement. That happened like an hour ago.
yeah, I
Wow.
know.
Love that. Well, go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please. But that
Please.
is really all I have for you guys this week. What about you, Savannah?
That's it for this week.
Okay, well, happy Valentine's Day, and I guess we will see you guys next week.
Cue the music.